Hey y'all,
I
I'm
forget
Andy
Christine.
Lee, and we are thrilled to be here. It's another author interview that went bad on Instagram, and so it gets to come live to you sort of here on YouTube via Zoom. I want to introduce to you my new friend, Catherine Brakefield. Catherine is a historical romance author. How much fun is that? So today we're going to be talking about the benefits of historical romance and why you should read it as a believer. I'm going to ask her some questions about what exactly is historical fiction and how that's different from other fiction, and just find out more about Catherine and how she got involved. And we pray that we can encourage you if you have a book in your heart or a dream to be an author one day. So, Catherine, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging in there and joining me today.
Oh, Lee, it's just a blessing to be with you. I mean, I love all your prayers and you're so inspiring to me,
Oh,
especially.
thank you. Thank you. Let me tell y'all, Catherine is an award-winning author. Her readers inspire her writing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. She has written a book called Wilted Dandelions. I love the titles of all your books. And then she has a faith-based series called Swept into Destiny, Destiny's Whirlwind, Destiny of Heart, and Waltz with Destiny. So it's the Destiny series. I'm guessing her name is Destiny. Is that her name?
No, but
Yes.
this is here's all
Yes.
my Destiny stories, my Destiny girls. Aren't they adorable? They are
I
so pretty.
love it. Yep, I'm gonna have to get
I
that
think Cameron
series.
does a great job.
Yes, they're great. So
Yes.
pretty. So much fun.
Well, I'm just very thrilled, that they're out, and that people are enjoying them so much. And I'm just, I'm awed by the reviews I've been getting, because, you know, we're more of introverts, we're writers. We want to stay inside of us. And when
Right,
we put our child out there, we don't know how the world's going to accept it. We think, oh, please,
right.
Lord, let them like this. Let them get the scene that I want, that I wrote so hard for. And when they come back with positive results and that they've been inspired by it, they learned something about it, that's just more reward for us to keep on trying.
It's great that you're getting those reviews. I think as an author, one of the hardest things is not hearing back, because so many don't ever
Yes.
tell you. You don't
Yeah.
know how many lives you're affecting. And so
Yes.
that, to me, that can be the hardest thing. And then there's the negative reviews. So I'm in nonfiction, and I feel like with the nonfiction, so much of, well, writing in general is subjective, right? To your
Hmm.
perception, where you've been, how you read it, how you see it, and especially when it comes to theology and biblical stuff, people have different views. And so I've had some people not like me, and then I have some people who like me too, and that just make you feel so much better when
I
they
find
do.
it hard to believe they don't like you, though.
Oh, well, thank you. There are some. They don't know me. They just don't like my books. Anyway,
Oh,
but being a writer, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is to encourage people. But that is one of, I think, the hardest parts about writing is not knowing, not
hmm,
hearing back, and in the industry too. Well, we can talk about that a little bit. How the industry, you'll put out a proposal and not hear anything for a long time, and rejection,
yeah.
and I'm not even sure if I'm going there. You were on the positive and I'm going to the negative. So we'll go back. We'll go back. So Catherine lives in Michigan. I've never been to Michigan, but Catherine, I have to tell you, I'm about to get a daughter-in-law from Michigan. So my
Awesome.
son just proposed, and all I know is
Oh.
she lives here in Michigan. That's all I
Uh-huh.
know about
Okay.
where she's from. And maybe one day I'll go to Michigan. But so I hear it's a beautiful state. It's very cold in the winter.
Yeah, it's cold in the winter. It's beautiful in the summer. We got 90-degree plus weather. I got a pool in my backyard I use
Wow.
constantly. Yes. And we have beautiful autumns. We go horseback riding the autumns because they're so gorgeous, and the leaves and everything. The springs are wet. Of
Yes,
course,
I
the
bet.
grass grows.
Yeah,
Of
you have
course,
the
the grass
green,
grows. The
but
winters are
horse
great.
does too.
Yes,
So
the
you
horse.
have Arabian horses.
Yes, yes. I used to raise Arabians. My
Okay.
my family started with horses when I graduated from high school because I wanted a horse. And then we went to the Fenton auction. We bought we got Arabian Stallion, Edmar Ramar, and we went to the Fenton auction where all these grade mares were, and we bought our grade mares and we just took off. So
So you said that your writers, not writers, your readers
yes.
inspire you. So
Hmm.
tell us how your readers inspire you.
Well, I'm going to read one of them. And I never met this person and I never knew about them until they read my book. And this is what she wrote. Um, where is it now? It was right here. Oh, here it is. My husband purchased this book for me, and I cannot wait to read the 3 other period books in the series. I would recommend this book to adults and teens who like to read a realistic story about history. And he wrote Breakville writes a story with the same flourish as Margaret Mitchell and Louis May Alcott. And I thought,
Oh,
oh,
wow. Wow.
those are 2 of
Yeah.
my favorite authors, by the way.
Yes. How nice.
And I thought, oh, that was so sweet. I don't even know her. I didn't send out for requests. It was her husband just bought the book and she read it and then she left a review on Amazon, which was just,
Mhm.
oh, that's what I'm saying when I'm saying it's just so encouraging.
That's wonderful. So when you get those, you want to keep
Yes.
on writing.
You're doing something right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I love that she wrote that it's good for all ages. It would be good for teenage
Mm-hmm.
girls. I am the last 3 years taught English 6th through 12th grade and really fell in love with the teens. Well, I'm, it's hard to teach, but anyway, I fell in love with them, and I will definitely let the librarian know about your books for
Please,
those high
yes.
school girls because they
Yes.
do. They need good quality literature, books that doesn't have all the negativity and the darkness of this world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do. I definitely will be
Yes.
letting the librarian know about that for sure. That's wonderful. So
Yes.
let's talk about historical fiction. What makes historical fiction that specific a genre? Because fiction in general, I understand, you've got to do your studying, your setting, and you have to know your time period and the place. So what makes it historical fiction?
I'm telling you, well, historical fiction is really like a family. It's a skeleton on which we're based with our country and our people. If we don't know what we did yesterday, wouldn't that be scary?
Yeah.
We're trying to cut off the true history of our country, the true history of our family. We have family. We don't like them all. We don't always get along with all our family, but they're
Mhm.
family. We
Mhm.
still love them. We're still going to embrace them. We still want to know the bad. We want to know the good, and we want to know the ugly. We
Yes.
want to judge ourselves. We don't need someone taking things out of our history books, tell them
Mm,
what we should know, what we shouldn't know. We need to arrive at that conclusion ourselves, and that's
yeah.
my problem with what's happening now and that's why I am really selling a lot of these books right now because people are getting tired of what their kids are being taught. I had one woman tell me they know more about China than they do about American history.
Oh, wow. So
Isn't that sad?
historical fiction is based on history. It's based on, do you use one specific event from the history, or is there a time period that you focus on in your books? Like 1930, 1900, 1800s? When do you focus?
Yes. When I'm doing whatever book I'm doing now, for instance, the first book, Wilted Dandelions, I focused on the Second Great Awakening in the
Okay.
1830s. And so I did a whole lot of research on that. I even went out west and checked out
Okay.
the Lewis and Clark Trail and everything like that.
Yeah.
Read a lot of books, and then I start writing. Now
That,
with the Swept into Destiny series, with this 4-book series. Um, it's a funny thing that happened with this book. I never thought I'd be a writer, never in this world, because they were so high up there to me.
right.
When I was growing up, we had black and white television. So we got color through reading books. So
Ah,
yeah,
I like
so
that.
then yeah, and so I'll never forget, I was born again. I mean, I was a Catholic all my life, but I was born again, kneeling in front of the TV set, listening to Billy Graham. Something I never did that. Well, I never actually asked him into my heart. You know, when he said, "Ask me
Right.
into your heart," I said, "Okay." I was already confirmed. I was baptized. I did communion. But I thought, I'm going to do this. I knelt down in front of the TV screen and I did it. Well, it wasn't a thunderbolt, but the next morning I wanted to read the Bible more. I wanted to get into more helping people more, and I joined Decision magazine, and they had a writers conference, which you have to be awarded to go into it. You had to write something in order
Okay.
to go to this one in Minneapolis. And the thing was, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So, well, that set me off. So I wrote a poem, which is in this book. So that set me off to my writing adventure.
Okay.
And about that time, in fact, it was, well, I was pregnant with my daughter then. And then I had her, she was 2 months old when my uncle died, who was taking care of my grandmother. She had rheumatoid arthritis very badly.
Mhm.
She needed a place to live. And the Lord said to me, "Kathy, have her come to your house." And I thought, this can't be the Lord. I mean, I'm supposed to be a writer. I don't have time. And
This can't be the Lord.
I thought, wait a minute, no, I wasn't planning on that way, Lord. This is another way.
Yeah.
So, so, now I was in the Lord's Christian writing school. So she lived with me for 12 years. The inspiration on this series came from her.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it
That's
amazing?
so cool.
Isn't
He
it?
doesn't
I
miss a
thought I
beat.
knew her life. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that
So
is so cool. Yes,
that's the way the Lord works. That's a
it
God
is.
thing. I
It
always call it a
is.
God thing. Yeah. That's the way the
Absolutely.
Lord works.
I took care of a neighbor, an older neighbor, for a few years, and she had the most amazing stories. And I'm not a fiction writer, and I guess anyway, I wish I would have recorded her stories.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I wish I would have taken a tape recorder or my phone or whatever, so I could go back I just didn't even know what to do with her stories, but they were hilarious and they were so interesting. And her grandparents had a hotel in like Minnesota or something. I don't know. It was just really, really interesting. I love the stories that our
Yes.
older generation have, and that's really important. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
it
something
is.
somebody needs to hear. If there's someone in your life who has these amazing stories, don't lose them.
Right.
Whether you record them so that one day you can go back to them or you can give them to somebody else or whatever, but use them, and maybe God's calling you to write about that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
It's true. You never know where the Lord's going to lead you. We
no,
think you got them all mapped out, but you know what? Nope, not going to happen.
no, and that's why we just keep on going, just like today. So it didn't work on Instagram, so
No.
we're going on to Zoom. So this will be on YouTube. We're just trusting him with that.
Yes.
So what can modern day readers glean from reading faith-based historical romance to
Well,
help them?
Harry Truman once said, the only thing important in life is a history you do not know. And this is what we have to do. We have to understand that the history is our skeleton, like the family is. You know, we need it. We need it to build upon. And history tends to repeat itself. So I make the same mistakes twice, I always say, learn your
Yeah.
history and learn how to adapt to any situation that comes your way,
Right.
knowing that your ancestors already been through that. If they can do it, you can do it. And God wouldn't put you through it unless he knew how to get you out of it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, inspirational historical romance is the best because it shows you that faith can get you through anything. Nothing is impossible for the Lord. A small amount of a grain of mustard seed, God will take care of it from there on. But first of all, you've got to obey him. You got to trust him.
Yeah.
And in my books, are a lot of true life instances showing you what happens if you don't obey them. you know, and we
right,
don't trust him. What is the alternative? You know, with
right,
starting with Swept when during the Alabama era through to the Civil War, and then Destiny's Whirlwind is all about the sowing of the seed and what happens to these people that thought, the seed that fell along the wayside, that they didn't understand. Yeah, they can accept the word of God. The next thing is to obey it, which people have a tough time doing sometimes,
right,
you
right,
know,
right.
and then Destiny's World, Destiny of Heart goes into World War I, and about the great, in the Roaring Twenties is a fun time, but then we plummet into the Great Depression,
Right, right,
and it's amazing. Do you lose your faith then because suddenly you don't have what you used to have? You're
right.
penniless. I mean, it's interesting to know how our ancestors did it. I know one lady wrote after the coronavirus. She says, "Kathy, I'm so glad I read your books." She put that on Facebook because I know we can get through this, just like
Oh,
your characters did. And
wow.
then and I didn't know with Waltz that it really took the World War II to get us out of the Depression because people were still fighting for jobs and looking for work. It was a struggle, at least
And
with my
that's,
grandmother. Yes.
I think that's what's so cool to me about historical fiction is I learned so much. So,
Yes.
and then you've added the faith part onto that.
Mhm.
So it's a full meal, really adds to your life by reading it, where so many things we watch and we do and we read can take from our life rather than add
Yes.
to it. And it sounds
I
like that's
know.
really adding to it. One of my favorite historical novels, who I feel so bad, I can't remember the author nor the title. I found it at the library, but I loved it. It was in California during the time of Prohibition. And it was not the author, the main characters, they had a vineyard in California and how Prohibition affected them. You didn't,
Oh,
I never thought about that. I
I
never
didn't either.
thought about
Yeah.
how that would affect those
Yeah.
farmers. And it was, and then there was celiac disease in there and just all these different things. I learned so much from that book. And it was a page turner. It just kept me
Yeah.
going. Someday I'll look back and try to find that author. And it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
really good. So I love historical fiction is my jam. It's my favorite
Uh-huh.
of all of them. So
Well, I like to take all the mundane facts out of my reading. I read so much, but I give you guys the exciting parts. The parts you need to know, all the excitement. So most young kids, if teenagers want read it, or even young adults, they say, "I don't like history." I says, "Read my book." I said, "You know what, Mrs. Brinkle, these are great. I really learned to enjoy history because you're not
yes.
hitting all the bad parts. You're hitting the best parts and having it wrapped around with a sweet love story besides."
And what is your advice that you would give someone who wants to write, has a book in their heart?
All right, I'd say do your research. First of
Okay.
all, don't start until you do some research because a lot of times people will end up writing and they'll realize they have to check in this research and do that. Do your
Right.
research first. Get your idea where you want to go in this book. The time period you want to cover. And what you want to say. What's a deep dark theory, the meaning that you want to put in it, and then sit down that typewriter and type. Don't
Sit
stop.
down.
Sit down there and type, type, type. You've already done your research. Don't check anything else. You'll go back and double check on the other things. But first, get them out. Get that first chapter out.
Mm.
Get a couple out and then do the last chapter. I like to do the last chapter before I do everything, just to
I
make
like
sure I've
that.
got my characters. I do. I don't know. People say, "Oh no, I need a outline." I've tried outline so much. I
But
really
you
try.
know
I
where
mean,
you're
I want to
going.
be organized.
I know where you're going. I think so many times
Yeah.
just starting out fiction authors just want to let it go as it flows, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure they ever know where they want to end. And I think that's
Right.
really important. I
I
love
think they do
that you write
too.
the last chapter.
Yeah, I do. I do because I just need to know where I'm ending. Do I have something? I always change the last chapter around, but at least I know they get together, and I know I made it to where I want to be in my story, and then I fill in the rest. And it seems to go better. I tried one other book without doing that, and I had a terrible time with it. Maybe it's just me. Everyone has to do their own thing.
They do. They
We're
do.
all
But
individuals. You know, that's the
I
most
think it's
important
really
part.
good advice, though. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
definitely. When you said research, I know you're talking about historical fiction or fiction, doing your research for the setting and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I would also say, do your research on, if it's nonfiction or fiction, do your research on, how long does it need to be? What's the
Yes.
word count?
Yeah.
That's what surprised me when God gave me an idea for A Mary Like Me, and I started writing, and my husband said, "How long does it need to be?" And I said, "It didn't matter, they're all
Yeah.
different lengths." And he said, "You better check on that." He's the detail guy, and I'm
Yeah.
the bigger picture person. And so then I found out it needed to be at least 40,000 words for nonfiction. What is the minimum word count and max for fiction? Do you know?
Yeah, it depends on what publishing house you're going to be, sending it to,
Okay.
marketing it to. I have an agent that helps me a lot, but you have to look at the marketing book. And I know that Crossroad likes 85,000,
Okay.
but I know some of the bigger houses like on 100,000 plus. You have
Right.
to decide where you're going to market to, so that, and you have to really listen to what their rules say. I know I have a
Yes.
lot of friends that are writing and they say, "Oh, I'm just going to write my God's going to take care of it." I says, "Well, you know what?
Right.
You gotta check it out first."
No.
I know.
Do
I says,
your
"Wait a minute
research.
here."
Find
Yes,
out
you
about
have
that
to.
publisher or that
Yes.
agent. And you also said you got started by going to a writer's conference.
Yes, I did.
That
Yes.
started all
Yes.
of it for you. And I think that's one
Yes.
of the best pieces of advice to give somebody who wants to write.
Yes,
So,
I did. I know I went to a lot of writers conferences, and I went to like the ACFW group, I went
okay.
to, into small groups and large groups. I really try to hone down my skill,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do that. I mean, sure, you want your words there, but you have to know what's going to sell and what people are looking for, because you're going to write just to one audience yourself,
Right. And it's networking, meeting those other authors and publishers and all of those people. It's really
Yes.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, this has been a joy. This has been so much fun. I pray it's been I know it's going to be encouraging for others to see. Catherine, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time today. One more question. What do you have next? Are you writing another one?
Yes, it's already in the works at Cross River. It's an Amish story.
Oh.
It's an Amish futuristic story. So it's going to be very interesting. It's also suspense. So this will be my first one to try this. This is going to be exciting.
That sounds fun. So much fun. Where can people find you? Do you have a website? Where can they find your books?
Yes, it's my website is my name, Catherine with a C, Ulrich, ULRICH, Brakefield, BRAKEFIELD.com. And then it's on Amazon, it's on Cross Rivers, it's on Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold, Books A Million, all my books are there. Yeah, check them out. You'll enjoy it.
Yes, I'm going to. Thanks so much. That's so fun. Well, blessings on your day, y'all. I pray this encouraged you. If you have questions, leave a comment below. If something did encourage you, let us know what that was. Subscribe, say hey, and we pray you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, Catherine. Talk to you soon.
All right.